And I appreciate the discourse that people have, but I find it ridiculous to the level of embarrassing. Some people in our profession, well, you'll hear from me, unlike others, is you'll have people who have a microphone go, the media, like, dude, you're in the media. You're in the media. Could be least loosely defined, but the people I'm talking about are in the media. And Nathaniel Hackett gets the job in Denver. And somehow it's made into a racial thing because Eric Bieniemy did not get the job. And I found it very, very clever, very interesting that there's so many omissions in so much of this stuff. Okay? Now, I've told you before, I've kind of gone into this before, somehow Eric Bieniemy has become like what Colin Kaepernick was and now what Cam Newton is, where anytime a job comes open, you're like, why don't they sign Cam Newton? Well, it's because Cam Newton sucks. He's not any good anymore. It's why he's been a free agent 3 times in the last 2 years. And his old coaching staff in Washington desperately needed a quarterback several times over. Never once have they gone like, you know what we should do? Cam Newton. You know why? Can't throw a football. It's it. Has nothing to do with him personally, nothing to do with anything else. He just can't throw a football well enough anymore. But I haven't heard one person mention, until now, Ryan Poles is the new general manager of the Chicago Bears. He came from the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? And he named Matt Eberflus as his head coach. Your first job as GM, you got to get it right, man. You got to hire a dude. He was in Kansas City. And usually, guys who are in Kansas City bring somebody with them. Now, as I told you yesterday, Eberflus is a unique guy because working in Indy, your general manager in Indy used to be in Kansas City. There's a relationship there. And so when you get a job and you might have in your mind, who do I want to hire for that job? You call people that you work with. You call people that you respect. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you have your own running list. So before you go out and go like, hey, why didn't they hire Eric Bieniemy, who has no ties to the Denver Broncos outside of the fact that he played at Colorado, who did not offer him the job last year as head coach? A guy who worked in the same shop, had to hire a coach, has a young quarterback, chose somebody else to be. That's what it's about. People who he has relationships with have decided to pass at this point. So don't make something racial when it's not. All anybody wants to do in sports is win. That's it. Who gives me the best chance of winning? Who gives me the best chance? And sometimes they misevaluate. Do I think it worked against Bieniemy that they had Matt Nagy, who was in a similar position in Kansas City before he got the Bears job? Sure. I think it's reasonable. But you get your first job as general manager. Hey, man, you're going to make your first hire, and you don't hire somebody who you worked directly or indirectly with for the past several years, for the past 5 years or so. I can't really help you. That's all you need to know. Sports is a business, and business is about relationships, and relationships are built based upon trust. And I don't know what it is about working with Eric Bieniemy. I know what it is in terms of his interviewing. I told you, people like him. Just nobody knows exactly what he does, which is fine. You don't have to call plays to be it. Anyone who says, like, you have to call plays to be an NFL coach, no, you don't. Now, you have to hire other guys that do. You have to be a uniter. You have to be somebody who very, very, very meticulous and organized. But as I was told, when people say he's not a great interview, it's not because he's not a great guy. It's because you don't walk away going, you know, the second I hire him, here's what he's going to do. That's what they all say. And so instead of going after the Denver Broncos, who have made it incredibly clear, right? And by the way, the hiring an offensive guy after hiring a defensive guy, pretty obvious. Hackett is incredibly well regarded in the league. Aaron Rodgers swears by him, loves him. So best case scenario, they use it to leverage and get Aaron Rodgers to say, I want to go to Denver, make it happen, make that trade happen. Worst case scenario, you got a guy who Aaron Rodgers like, look, he makes my life easier. He'll make whatever quarterback you choose his life for easier. So I don't know if Pat Mahomes gets on the phone to people like Aaron Rodgers did to Atlanta last year trying to get Nathaniel Hackett the job. But we have people in the media who their first response to anything is racism. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that anybody wants to do, white, black, mixed race, doesn't matter, is win. How do I win football games? Because when I win, everybody gets a better job or everybody gets a better contract, and I get to get a bigger house. All that matters. All that matters.